Billy Porter is an unforgettable presence, both on stage and on screen. It was just announced that he's playing James Baldwin in an upcoming biopic. He's also returning to his musical roots, releasing a new album nearly 30 years after his first, and embarking on his first nationwide headlining tour. We look at his journey to this moment for our Arts and Culture series, Canvas.
See, I know times are hard.
Billy Porter is a multi-hyphenate artist who won an Emmy for his portrayal of ballroom MC Pray Tell on the groundbreaking series Pose, a Tony and a Grammy for Best Actor in a Musical for his role as Lola in Kinky Boots. He's in rare company of those who have earned 3 of the EGOT awards, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, and he's emerged as an LGBTQ activist known for never holding back.
Art is political, inherently. Historically, as artists, we get to speak truth to power, always.
Porter and I met recently in New York City, where he's rehearsing for his tour and sat down for a conversation at the Republic Records studio.
Art is very Trojan horsey, right? You can do things and you can say things as an artist that you can't as a politician. And it cracks open people's minds. You know, art creates critical thinkers. And critical thinkers are leaders, not followers.
But before you go, baby, just show me.
When he first hit the scene in 1997 as an R&B singer, Porter says he had to hide the authenticity he's since become known for. 26 years later, you are now embarking on your first national music tour. Is it fair to ask what took so long?
Well, you know what took so long. You know, in 1997, the world and the music business was very homophobic, very often violently so. And even in that moment, I was participating in the don't ask, don't tell policy of my life. You know, and I was showing up being as straight as I could so that I could eat. And I was made to feel like I failed at that. All these years later, I go back and look at my music videos. I was actually good at it. I was good at being straight. And the universe made it so that it didn't work. So that I could come back all this time later in the fullness of myself.
Not trying to patronize a little bit.
So what took so long was that. Blessedly, I had all of these other creative outlets that I could exist in. And I leaned into all of that. And 25 years later, I'm 1 award away from an EGOT. I have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I have a production company. I work all the time. So when my first album imploded, I realized, oh, I had failed as someone else. I will never do that again, I said to myself. So that's when I chose my authenticity.
Do you feel vindicated now?
I don't like vindicated.
Okay.
Because vindicated, yes, and vindicated has a negative connotation. Redeemed.
Wow, the culture had to catch up to you.
The culture had to catch up to me. The world had to catch up to me. Everybody told me that my queerness would be my liability. Allies and haters alike. And it was, for decades it was.
Blue rabbit crossing the street.
Now he's not holding back with his new album, Black Mona Lisa.
Now I get to come back, right, to the mainstream music industry on my own terms. And as I started working with writers and producers who now actually listen to me and want to help me and my vision as opposed to the first time around when I did it.
So since day when she was in overdrive.
The lead single, Baby Was a Dancer, is a celebratory anthem meant for the dance floor. There are a couple of lines in here that I want to read to you. Every preacher told her she's a sinner. Every teacher told her she won't make it because she moved ahead of her time. Is that autobiographical?
Of course it is. The whole album is autobiographical. I grew up in the church. I'm queer. You know, they cursed me from their pulpits and said I'd never be blessed. AIDS is an abomination. You know, all of that stuff that comes in that space, right? You know, I'm calling myself she. I'm referring to myself in the third person as she. Queer people, we mix up the pronouns all the time. You know, it's a pronoun world now. So, you know, I'm referring to myself in the third person. And even the teachers. You know, I went to drama school at Carnegie Mellon, and I was almost kicked out of the program.
Really?
Because in the first semester of my sophomore year, because the voice and speech teacher said that my speaking voice was too high for the American stage and I would never work. That was based on what they had seen. This was 1987. We had 3 archetypes: the James Earl Jones patriarch, the Denzel Washington sex symbol, and the Eddie Murphy genius clown. And they were only trying to do their job, right? In retrospect, I have compassion because they were only trying to do their job. There aren't many spaces, particularly arts education spaces, that know how to train firsts of anything. They know how to train people to enter the market that already exists.
Okay.
But they don't know how to train a first. I was a first.
Also a pioneer of gender-defying fashion, Porter's red carpet looks are custom couture works of art. It all started with the 2019 Oscars.
The Oscar dress was just me being me, you know, and it changed the face of fashion forever. It's a touch tone that will go down in history. I went to the Oscars in an antebellum tuxedo gown. As a cisgendered man. It had never happened before. And since then, it's changed fashion.
Yeah. I remember the 2020 Grammys where you wore that hat with the motorized crystal curtain. Where do these ideas originate, and do you feel pressure to have to top what you've already done?
No, I don't feel pressure. I'm just being myself. And what I love about the process is I have an amazing team. It's like we come together, we talk about things, we talk about ideas. Best idea in the room always wins with me. You know, I come from the theater, so I'm very collaborative. I'm not a micromanager. And the things show up.
Billy Porter has left his mark on Broadway, fashion, television, and music, building loyal, sometimes separate fan bases along the way.
So how do you then navigate having all of those different audiences, meeting all of those different sets of expectations?
I'm trying to figure that out. And I think, and I hope, that it's this return to the mainstream music space that will do that, because music is the universal language. You know, existing in all of these spaces, they don't necessarily, these creative artistic spaces, they don't always speak to each other. So my hope is that now I can wrangle them all together through the music.
Well, what should people expect at a Billy Porter show?
A celebration of life, love, joy, hope. It's like church, it's like gay church.
And you were raised Pentecostal. So
and I was raised
Pentecostal. So when you say church, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just want to give the world a big bear hug. You know, we've been through so much recently. You know, this collective trauma that we've been inside of, and nobody is okay. And that's okay. And my hope is that my message will be healing. We need a healing. And I've been singing my whole life, and I know that music is healing. It's really, really healing.
Billy Porter's concert tour kicks off this Saturday.